Yo, what up? It's your boy, Mr. E, and today I'm going to start a new segment of my YouTube channel called I Used Math Today. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people say, when am I ever going to use this math in the real world? Well, I'm going to give you a sneak peek at my Thanksgiving with my family and see all the times that I used math that day. I hope you enjoy.
Starting off Thanksgiving with an outdoor walk. Here we go. Lily really wants to go make some new friends on our walk. But this doesn't have anything to do with math. Our walk has taken us to a lake that we can walk around. This gives me the idea that we could find the perimeter of this lake just by walking around it using my Apple Watch. Look at my mom being a tryhard. Don't you know it's Thanksgiving? This is the day where we eat and be fat. Go, Mom, go. You got it. 3, 2, 1. And the workout is complete. Let's check how many steps we got.
All right, after checking how many steps I got, I wanted to know how many steps I walked in a minute. So I came up with this problem. Mr. E walked 3,994 steps on his 40-minute walk. How many steps per minute did Mr. E walk? So let's come up with the equation. I have a total of 3,994 steps, and I need to find out how much I did in 1 minute. So I have a total, but I'm looking to break it down into smaller pieces. So this looks like a good equation. 3,994 divided by 40 equals S. And S is going to tell us how many steps we've got. So we got to figure out what's going to go inside the garage and what goes on the outside. Well, the dividend goes on the inside, and the divisor goes on the outside, and the quotient will go on the top. I always like making a what I know column. It really helps me out while I'm dividing, so I'm going to have this over by the side to help me out. So 40 can't fit into 339, so we're going to go all the way over to 399. And it looks like the number we're going to use is 9, because we're going to use divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So 399 divided by 40, that would give us 9. 9 times 40 would give us 360, and we'd subtract to get us 39. Then we're going to bring down the 4 and continue the process and start all over. So how many times can 40 fit into 394? Looks like we're going to get another 9 here, which would give us subtract 36 and have 34 as a remainder. Now, we could just stop here and say there's a remainder of 34 steps, but I want to go the extra mile. I want to do something that will help me continue to divide but not change the value of my dividend. So if I add a decimal and some zeros behind it, doesn't change the value, and I can continue to divide. We're going to raise the roof and bring that decimal up, being careful of place value, and then we're going to continue to divide. So we'll bring down that next 0. 40 fits into 348 times, so we would subtract 320 to give us 20. We'll bring down the 0.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
That fits in 5 times, and then we can subtract 200 to give us that donut that we want. We could always use inverse operations to check our answer, but I think we have a good answer. 99 and 85 hundredths equals S, so I almost did 100 steps per minute, which honestly isn't that much. So if you can remember, my mom was a big tryhard, and she was running most of the time we were outside. So I wanted to see who had more steps, my mom or me. So using the comparison symbols, less than, greater than, or equal to, who had more steps, Mr. E or his mom? So this is how many steps my mom had. And honestly, this isn't going to be a very hard problem at all. We can probably just see, just looking at it, that my mom totally beat me. But let's go through the steps. So we'll put this number underneath the first number, draw the line so we can compare more evenly. Look in the thousands place. Again, looks like my number was less than, so we'll put the less than symbol. So my mom totally won, and I totally got my butt kicked. Halfway through the walk, she went on a run with my mom, and now she's dead tired. F's in the chat for Lily. So I was beginning my preparations for Thanksgiving dinner when I realized I forgot to buy wood for the ham that I'm about to grill. So I need to go to the grocery store, but I'm out in the middle of nowhere. So I could use order of operations to see if I will have enough gas in my tank to get to the store and back. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so this is actually something I use every single day because you never ever want to run out of gas. It says Mr. and Mrs. E need to go to grocery shopping. They have 175 miles left on their tank. The grocery store is 14 miles away from his parents' house. How many more miles will they have in their tank when they get back home from the grocery store? So something that's important to take in consideration is that this is going to be a two-way trip. We're going to go to the grocery store and go back. So I think this equation would suffice. 175 subtract 14 times 2 equals m. And since we have more than one operation, we're going to have to use our order of operations, or PEMDAS. No parentheses, no exponents, but we do have some multiplication. 14 times 2 would give us 28. We rewrite the rest of our equation. And it looks like our multiplication and division is done, and all we have left is addition and subtraction. So 175 subtract 28 would give us 147. Illuminati confirmed. So sales tax is usually something that gets calculated for you, but I did want to make this a little fun and try to predict it. So it says the total cost of the groceries Mr. and Mrs. E bought was $9.58 before tax. Sales tax is 8.25% in their area. What was the sales tax for this purchase? So this may seem like a complicated problem, especially since we're throwing some financial literacy in there, but honestly, if we know how to multiply decimals, this will be a breeze. So we're going to say 9 and 58 hundredths times an 8 and 25 hundredths percent. If we just move the decimal over twice, since it is a percent, we could change that to a decimal, and that would give us 0 and 825 ten thousandths. Pretty small number, but equals t. So what I like to do is I like to stack the number with the bigger amount of digits on the top and the number with the least amount of digits on the bottom. When you're multiplying with decimals, you do not have to line the decimals up. That's why I love multiplying with decimals. So when we multiply, we need to remember to have those placeholder zeros. That's going to be super duper important. And then when we add them all together, we get this number. But it'd be kind of hard for us to have our number be that big, and that just wouldn't be reasonable. So we got to remember at the end that we're going to, and the number that we scoop is how many numbers are behind the decimal. So we have 6 total numbers, and we've got that decimal showing up. We're going to move it over 6 times. So we just keep those scoops going all the way till we get to right in front of the 7. Now, we got to think about this in money terms, and we usually only go to the nearest cent. So we would just round to that or just cut it off at 79 cents. So 79 cents will be our sales tax.
I think the sales tax is going to be 79 cents. If I'm right, then my wife has to pay, but if I'm wrong, then I have to pay. So let's see what the sales tax was.
Joke's on you guys, we have the same credit card, so didn't really even matter. Alright, we're trying some grilled ham this year. We'll see how this works out because I accidentally bought the wrong ham, but it's supposed to be at a temperature of 120 degrees Fahrenheit when it's ready to put the glaze on. So fingers crossed this works. Alright, we got the glaze on it. So far so good. Hopefully it keeps turning out that way. We'll see though. Until next time.
Alright, we're dealing with some pie, so you know there's going to be a fraction problem. So here we go. Mr. E's family had 2 pies for Thanksgiving, a banana pie and a pumpkin pie. And I really love that pumpkin pie. I may be partial because I made it, but it was really good. His family ate 3/4 of the banana pie and 2/3 of the pumpkin pie. How much pie was left over? So if we had a total of 2 pies and 3/4 of one pie was eaten and 2/3 of the other pie was eaten, we could add those 2 numbers, then subtract it from 2. So we're going to do 2 subtract in parentheses 3/4 plus 2/3, and that will give us L, the leftovers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those parentheses, we're going to add those 2 numbers first. So 3/4 plus 2/3. We're going to do our what I know column and find out what the common denominator will be. And we like to find the least common denominator. And in this case, we could just multiply the denominators together. So we're going to multiply by 3 on the top one, multiply by 4 on the bottom one. Remember, 3 over 3 equals 1, 4 over 4 equals 1. So we're really not changing the value. We're just finding an equivalent fraction. So 9/12 plus 8/12 would give us 17/12. Now, typically, I would change this to a mixed number and check to simplify, but I'm going to do something really quickly. I think I could tell you guys that 2 equals 24 over 12, and that would make sense. 24 divided by 12 would get us 2. So instead of trying to do all this work at the beginning, I'm just going to change 2 into 24/12, subtract 17/12 from that to give us 7/12. We do need to check, can we simplify? And 7 is a prime number and 12 is not divisible by 7, so we're good to go. So we're going to have 7/12 of a pi left over from the 2 pi's we started with.
And now, my favorite part of Thanksgiving, the leftovers. As you can see, my wife's corn casserole was the favorite tonight, but we've got to split it between 3 households. So we have about 1/3 of the corn casserole left, split between 3. How could we find out the total amount of corn casserole going home with each person?
Leftovers are my favorite part of Thanksgiving, and what we're about to do in this problem is one of my favorite things to do in math. There is 1/3 of corn casserole left. It needs to be split evenly between 3 family members, including Mr. E. What fraction of the original casserole will each family member take home? So we're going to be dividing fractions here. So we could say C equals 1/3 divided by 3. And remember that we can change where the variable is. It could be at the beginning of the number sentence or at the end of the number sentence. It is equal. So we're going to line it up like this, 1/3 divided by 3. And we're going to use our friend KCF.
It's still finger-licking good.
I love doing KCF. Before we do KCF, we do need to change that whole number into a fraction. So 3/1 is equivalent to 3, and now we can work with these numbers together. So the K stands for keep, so we're going to keep 1/3. C stands for change, we're going to change division into multiplication. And then the F stands for flip, or find the reciprocal. 3/1 would change into 1/3. And then when we're multiplying, we can just go straight across, numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator, and that would get us 1/9. So we would all take 1/9 of the original casserole home.
A Thanksgiving tradition is to watch the Cowboys play, but how can we add math into it? I know, let's have probability. They had a 25% chance of making the playoffs going into this game, but they always have a 100% chance to disappoint me.
Jairus has no wheat.
I have no wheat. We're playing a game of Settlers of Catan, and there's a lot of math in here, but it'd be very complex if I try to explain it to you.
The polar plunge is a Thanksgiving tradition that we have where we go to the pool after our Thanksgiving dinner and take a little dip in the pool. My dad's app says it's about 58 degrees in this pool, and the average human body temperature is 98 degrees. That's about a 40-degree difference. It doesn't take a mathematician to tell you that this is a crazy idea. There is no way that Is Mr. E an idiot for jumping into a freezing cold pool in the middle of a pandemic where getting sick is definitely not a good thing? A, yes. B, absolutely. C, of course. D, all the above. Or E, no. Mr. E is the best. I'll give you a couple seconds to comment below on what you think the correct answer is. The correct answer was D, all of the above. However, if you chose E, I'm going to put a hundo in your gradebook. Now, I know I didn't have to do every single one of those equations today, and a lot of that math could be taken care of easily by a calculator or my phone or some sort of technology, but I do want you to see that math is everywhere. And we didn't even dive into some topics like physics or chemistry or engineering or other things that we take for granted every single day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you look for opportunities where you use math every day. We love you guys, we miss you, and I'll see you later. Bye.